Hey everyone, welcome back to Just One More Opinion. My name is Charlie, and Zack Snyder's Justice League has just been released on HBO Max, so it's time to talk about it. Hey guys, just to let you know that this video is extremely long. I apologize for that, but you do have chapters below, so you can skip ahead. Feel free to skip ahead to any section where I talk about each part of the movie, give some thoughts on this and that. I don't mind because I do know hearing this guy talk for 1 hour plus 1 hour is too much. So yeah, if you want to skip ahead to any section, feel free to. The chapters are below, and yeah, that's just all I wanted to say. And let's keep going. Okay, guys, before I get started, this is the first time I am recording something on YouTube, and I'm doing two different recordings. I'm recording on my phone so I can upload to YouTube this episode, and I'm recording on my little voice recorder. So I have the podcast version. If you are not aware, this is a brand new channel. I started a podcast in November, basically December, where I talk about movies, Marvel, DC, TV series, games, and this past month I've started this YouTube channel, where I can just upload more stuff and create a bigger community around this project of mine. So whether you're looking at me on YouTube or listening to me on Spotify or any other streaming platforms that you use for podcasts, hello, and this is gonna be a very different episode. I'm not going off a script. I usually write scripts because English is not my first language, and it's just easier for me to consolidate all the thoughts I have on the movies that I'm talking about, or the series, or games, whatever. And yeah, this is the first for me. This is the first time I'm recording myself, audio and image, talking about a movie. Hopefully it will be good enough, but yeah, just keep that in mind. And yeah, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever, just know that there's a YouTube version of this where you can see my face if you're interested. If not, that's fine. And to you, yes, you, if you are looking at me, at my Portuguese face, my young Portuguese face, then welcome to the channel. Welcome to Just One More Opinion. And today, I have an opinion on Zack Snyder's Justice League, released on HBO Max on the 18th of March. Today is the 19th. And it's 4 hours long, divided into 6 parts, plus a prologue, plus an epilogue. And this is truly Zack Snyder's vision. For Justice League, I was not a fan of the 2017 theatrical version at all. I remember I went to the movie theater with two of my buddies, and they were much bigger fans of DC than I am. I'm usually more of a Marvel boy. I do love Batman and Joker. They're two of my favorite comic book characters, but yeah, I was not really excited for Justice League, particularly. They're the Avengers of the DC. Warner Brothers and was trying to rush this team up movie. It's crazy. This was the 5th movie, yeah. The first one being Man of Steel, then we have Batman vs. Superman. That was an alright movie. I didn't really love it, but I didn't really hate it. I think the extended cut of Batman vs. Superman is much better than the original. There's a lot more explanations for things that happen in that movie. Then we had Suicide Squad. It was what it was. And Wonder Woman, great movie. One of the best DCEU movies. And then we had this. We had the theatrical version of Justice League. And just the first scene with with Henry Cavill and his digitally removed mustache. I was at the theater and I was watching this on IMAX. I was living in London at the time, so I paid, I think, £17.50, and it's a lot to pay for a movie ticket, especially here in Portugal. I don't know if any of you, if you're not from Portugal, if you know this, but I can go to the cinema for a normal ticket, not IMAX, for €6. So that's like £5 and $5, I don't know. And even for IMAX, that's €10. So 17.50 for to watch a movie was a lot for me. It was really a lot, really expensive. And then I get to the movie theater, and the first scene I see in Justice League is Henry Cavill talking with his upper lip, just like wiggling around. It was so weird, and yeah, the movie itself, there was lots of silly humor. Oh, by the way, yeah, I'm trying to give like a backstory to my experience with Justice League, my thoughts on the theatrical 2017 version, so I can comment on this one, on Zack Snyder's version, the definite version of Justice League, with a bit more of just like that thought process of comparing both versions, because I cannot really talk about one without the other, even though I only watched Justice League, I think, twice. Yeah, I think I only saw it one more time after I saw it in the movie theater, because I didn't really like it that much. So yeah, I'm just talking about the 2017 version, so I can then talk about this movie and compare it, some sections, some like just comments on the tone, on the character developments, and so on. So yeah, I think the one of the worst things about Justice League theatrical version is the tonal inconsistency with the Snyder directed scenes and then the Joss Whedon added scenes, humor, which is just, it was such a silly, cringy, cheesy humor. It didn't really make sense, and there was a lot of undermining certain heroes of the team, especially Flash and Cyborg. Like, there were scenes in Justice League 2017 where the Flash would be totally undermined as a hero. Like, he was afraid of bugs, he was saving 2 people while Superman was saving hundreds or something like that. And then with Cyborg, we didn't just cut his entire backstory from his movie. And of course, in the Zack Snyder version, we see a lot of that, and it is one of the best aspects of the film, to see the character development, the character arc, their backstory, their origin story, what they are, how they are as a person. And with Joss Whedon's Frankenstein monster of a movie, we get none of that. Like, Cyborg is just there. He doesn't have an arc, personality, really. Flash is played for jokes. Even the relationship between Superman and Batman is so weird. Like Superman says, I think, at the end of the movie, "Oh, I thought you didn't like me," and Batman is like, "I don't not like you," or something like that. It's just really weird, and every time I remember it, like I watched Zack Snyder's Justice League 1.5 times. I watched it fully alone, and then I'm starting to rewatch it as with my family, as they couldn't watch through the whole thing, like the 4 hours. It's just too long. So I think I watched part 1 and 2 yesterday with my mom, dad, and brother. Then I watched part 3 and 4 with my brother, and tonight I'm gonna watch the rest of it, or at least more of it. And every time I think about what Zack Snyder did in this movie compared to what Whedon did, or removed, or added, or brutally beaten out of what Snyder had built, had filmed already. Because if you're not aware, I think he only filmed 15 more minutes for this version. So he did like 15 more minutes of reshoots. Every 3.5 hours of this movie were already filmed back in 2017, 2016, whenever they filmed. And it's just crazy that Whedon and Warner Brothers looked at what Snyder filmed, wrote, directed, and they were like, you know what, why don't we make Flash fall on top of Wonder Woman? Why don't we make Superman say, you know, I'm a great believer in truth, and I also love justice. Like, why make those silly changes? Like, I cannot fathom why that happened. And as I watched this, and as I finished the movie, I was like, Whedon has just spiraled down as a director. He directed the Avengers movie. That was huge. The first big team-up movie with characters coming from different franchises or movies. Then he did Age of Ultron. It wasn't as good. It's clearly the worst out of the 4 Avengers movies. And I don't mind that. It is what it is. And then, how can he... I feel like he either was kind of envious of what Marvel... Not envious. He was feeling bad for Marvel leaving him. And then he got this chance with DC. And he was trying to either put more Avengers-styled humor and tone and just color into Justice League, and it just didn't work because the DCEU is a very much darker universe compared to the MCU, and that's fine, and that is fine. That's just the tone. There's a clear different tone for DC movies, especially with Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Compared to like Iron Man, Spider-Man Homecoming, the Avengers movies. So I don't know. I still don't understand. Even when they announced that Joss Whedon was gonna substitute Zack Snyder or just film more stuff, be a co-director or whatever for Justice League, I was a bit confused. I didn't know why they did that. It seemed like a clear mistake. And then I watched the movie, and yeah, it was a massive mistake. A massive mistake. Everything that Joss Whedon added, all of his weird humor, silly jokes, just all of it was bad. And all of the shots, all of the scenes that I quite enjoyed in the theatrical version were actually Zack Snyder scenes, and I'm not surprised. And yeah, before I wrap up, because I'm just talking too much. When I don't have a script, I just talk and talk and talk. All of the scenes that Snyder filmed and then made into the and then they were allowed to be in Whedon's 2017 movie. In the Snyder cut, they're just more developed. Like there's no skipping pivotal moments, little scenes that kind of explain like why this character is here now, like what happened in between. Like in the Snyder Cut, it's all there. And of course I have to mention that Snyder Cut is 4 hours long, and the 2017 movie, I think it was like 2 hours long, so half. And even if Snyder got to put his vision for the Justice League movie back in 2017 in the theater without any Whedon or studio interference, of course it wouldn't be 4 hours long. It would probably be around 3 hours long. And it would have probably been still a great movie. I think the issue. I'll talk about the other issues in a bit, but one of the things that kind of bugged me about the Snyder Cut was there was too many slow motion sequences, and I'm not even counting the scenes with the Flash, like Flash just going really fast / slow. Yeah, my God, that was really weird to say. Like there was just a lot of slow motion sequences, a lot, and it kind of annoyed me because I'm trying to figure out if somebody in the internet does this and they make all the non-flash slow-mo sequences into what they actually are in real time, how long would the Snyder Cut be? Probably just around 3 hours and something, because there was just a lot of them. Some of them work pretty nicely. I think they give that epicness, that epic feeling that you have when you watch one of those sequences. If it's really like, if there's an emotional stake, if you're invested in that scene, in what they're doing in the moment, the heroes and the action. But sometimes it was just, why make Aquaman just drink bottle of whiskey and just walk towards the coastline? Why make that a slow motion sequence? Just so you can put a song there, really? Like, again, the soundtrack is also another major change. It is much more Snyder-esque, but there's too many music in the movie. I think still there's even a bit. Okay, now I'm going to issues, and I want to cut this review better. But I'm sorry, this is the first time I'm doing this without a text to follow. But yeah, I think there was this one moment with there was some singing, and it was too long. It was really too long, and I was a bit confused. Like, why make this singing almost a minute long? I think at least it felt like that. Why not just cut it in half and just put that? It really didn't make a lot of sense to me, at least. But yeah, I think, just to wrap up the setup for the actual review, even though I'm already starting reviewing some stuff. Everything about this movie, about Zack Snyder's Justice League, is infinitely better than Joss Whedon's version. This actually feels like a movie, while the theatrical version feels like a corporate fast food product. I mean, and I'll say this: even though I kind of really disliked the 2017 Justice League, and I'll admit that when I heard that the Snyder Cut was actually happening, finally, I was not that excited about it. I was surprised. I was a bit shocked even that something that the fans demanded, and then the actors, and then Snyder himself, something like that was greenlit by the studios and made into an actual movie on HBO Max. And I was surprised. I was a bit excited, but I wasn't like, oh my God, this is finally gonna happen. His true vision come to life. It's gonna be so much better. Like, I was not one of those people. As I said, I'm really more of a Marvel fan. I like DC, but I don't follow the comics or the animated movies as much, so I don't know a lot about the lore of DC apart from Batman. I've played all the Batman Arkham games, so I do know a lot about the Batman's Rogues Gallery and Batman himself, but with Superman and Cyborg and Flash, I don't know a lot about that. Also, besides the CW TV shows with Flash, Arrow, all that stuff. So yeah, I wasn't really excited for the Justice League movie done justice. I was curious. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna see it when it's released, but I didn't get my hopes up. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be better. Of course it's gonna be. How can it be worse than what Whedon did? It's really impossible. But so yeah, I was like that. I was like in the middle. I was not a super fan of the Snyder Cut, or like one of the people that really fought for it. But I wasn't one of those blind haters that just thought it was gonna suck either way. And then after watching this movie, it was like, yeah, it was still bad. Like no, I had an open mindedness about it. I was luckily I only saw the 27 version twice, so I couldn't remember a lot of like little moments. I knew what happened, but I didn't know like certain scenes. So I forgot about how the story progressed. And so when I watched this movie, I was like all of this seems new. Like there's some scenes that did happen in the 2017 version, but they weren't shot like that. Like the dialogue is different, the tone is clearly different. Like this feels like a completely new movie. And I thought that, like, I think I didn't realize how much Whedon added to Justice League, how much he filmed after Snyder left the project, for personal and terrible reasons. And I'm grateful that this exists, not only because of the novelty of having another version of a movie released not even 4 years after the original one, and I'm thankful because this movie is so epic in scope. It's so good. It's really good. I think it's one of my 3-4 favorite DCEU movies. And maybe that's because I'm comparing it to the theatrical version. I don't know. It's one of those things, like, because I know that exists, even though I didn't watch it that many times. Maybe I'm just like comparing it like that was kind of bad, and this one is so much better, so it should be great. But no, I think as a team up movie, as an epic story, it was done properly. It was written, directed properly. There is tonal consistency for one. The characters are developed. Their stories, their origin stories, what led them to that moment in time, what is driving them, what are their goals, their conflicts, their stakes. All of it feels real. All of it feels thought out, fleshed out, developed. And in 2017, we didn't have any of that, like nothing. I'm specifically mentioning, like referencing Cyborg's story. Like I couldn't really say what Cyborg did in Justice League apart from removing at the end the 3 mother boxes. And in the Snyder Cut, that happens too, of course, but there's just so much more. There's so much more, and yeah, I think I'm gonna stop talking about stop setting up this episode, because I've been talking for 20 minutes now. I'll probably like cut in chapters the video, and so I want to talk about. I'm gonna start with just quickly summarizing each part, each part of the Snyder Cut. I want to warn you that I'm gonna be spoiling a bit of the movie. I don't want to. Well, you know this. It's been 4 years. You know the major bits of Justice League. So, like, I'm not really spoiling that much. Like, whatever you know from the 2017 version, I'm not gonna. If it happens similarly or in some way in the Snyder Cut, I don't consider that a spoiler because it's been out there for ages. But I will mention other stuff that I think you know from the trailers as well, if you've seen them. If you haven't seen them, well, spoiler warning, I'm going to be yeah, I'm gonna be mentioning some spoilers, just minor stuff. I think I don't know. I don't think there's really major spoilers in this, like around this movie, besides maybe the epilogue, because there was a cliffhanger nature to it, like setting up multiple future projects that I don't know if they're gonna happen, because Zack Snyder apparently is done with DC. I think he wanted to do the Snyder Cut and then be done with it. For now, I think that's his plan. And yeah, well, spoiler warnings, guys. Sorry for taking so much time to just say that. This is the first time I'm doing this, remember. Okay, so we have the prologue before we actually start with the movie, and the prologue is just a recap of what happened at the end of Batman v Superman. So Superman dies, and Batman is left feeling like a failure because he failed his friend. He was spending so much time fighting Superman instead of uniting with Superman, and so he feels like he needs to go on this journey to redeem himself and also prepare the world for an upcoming threat which he believes to be coming. The same with Diana. Diana also has an idea that something big is coming, a big threat. But the major thing about this prologue is that the death of Superman, and this might be a bit of a spoiler, I don't know. It is the cause. It is the origin point for what comes next. So in the Snyder in 2017, in the Justice League, movie, there was no correlation really with Superman's death and Steppenwolf and why was that was happening now at that moment. In the Snyder Cut, there is a clear reason, and it's all related to Superman dying, and it made lots of sense. I think if I could make a comparison, like draw a bridge, I would say that Superman dying was the same in the MCU as the Ancient One, Odin, Ego, all perishing, because all that made it more easy. Like it made it easier for Thanos to go around and do his Infinity heist. And in a way, this is kind of that. Steppenwolf sees an opportunity to put his plan into motion. So then we get to part one, and that's all. It's basically the same kind of compared to what we see in the theatrical version. So Steppenwolf appears on Earth. He takes the mother box that the Amazons are guarding. The action scene is much better in this version, in the Snyder Cut. It's so good. And we also meet Aquaman, so we have Bruce Wayne talking to Aquaman, trying to recruit him. The scene plays out mostly in the same way. There's just no corny lines in this version. And we also and it finishes, and one of the other action scenes is Wonder Woman saving the day by stopping that bank heist that was turning into a terrorist attack. And that scene, again, much better. The action was just so good. I was like, oh my god! Like I was reacting as I should with an action scene. I was like, oh my god, awesome, cool. And then just in the theatrical version, I just was like, yeah, that's cool. And yeah, that's part one. So Steppenwolf's setup, Wonder Woman saves the day. We meet Aquaman, and Steppenwolf takes the first mother box. Then we go to, by the way, part one is called Don't Count on It, Batman. All the parts are something that one of the characters says. In this case, it's Aquaman when he is saying no to Batman. And then we go to part 2, called The Age of Heroes, and some stuff happened, some stuff, like important stuff happens in this movie, in this part, but the big thing is how it ends with a flashback to, okay, now this is a spoiler, to the dark side invasion of Earth thousands of years ago, when, well, it's kind of a spoiler, because in the theatrical version it's Steppenwolf that invades Earth and tries to unite the mother boxes. In the Snyder cut, it's Darkseid, and that's just better, because you can see him be like a conqueror, just like Thanos. And the action is just, I think it's 5 minutes of an action scene, totally epic in scope. I think the lore of the DC comics is just presented here, like, properly, instead of being hinted at, like shown for 45 seconds in the other version, in the worst version, the theatrical, supposedly canon version of Justice League, which I just, blah. Anyway, so we have, yeah, that scene, that invasion, that flashback scene. It's really cool to see, like, Zeus, the Atlanteans, Amazons, men, and some other god. Like, we have Ares from Wonder Woman, from the Wonder Woman movie, have a cameo. We have one of the Green Lanterns. I don't know his name, because I don't follow DC that much, and that is basically it. It's we have a conversation between Diana and Bruce about recruiting heroes, because something is coming. Well, yeah, Diana finds out, because of the attack at Themyscira, finds out that Steppenwolf is already here on Earth. So she informs Bruce of what is happening. Instead of being, in the theatrical cut, instead of being a parademon is in Gotham, and Bruce finds out for some reason, so he uses a criminal to it makes a criminal afraid, so the parademon could come because of fear and whatnot. And then he sees, like, I think it was like an engraving on a wall with the 3 mother boxes, and it's like, oh yeah, this means something. This looks important. Something is coming. I need Aquaman and for the Flash and Cyber. Like I said, in the Snyder cut, there's cause and effect, and there's logic to it. It all makes sense, and that's great. So then we go to part 3, called Beloved Mother and Beloved Son, and it's mostly about Cyborg's backstory. We see his relationship with his dad, how it is, why it is like that. We see his time with his mom before his accident, and it's really sad. It's really tragic. I wasn't expecting. I knew he had an accident because he is a cyborg now, but I wasn't aware of the baggage that he had even before the accident regarding his father. So that was really nice to see. I don't know why Joss Whedon cut it out. And after Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg, called him out on social media for his unprofessional behavior on set, now I can see why. I don't know, maybe he had some, I don't know, maybe Joss Whedon was a bit biased against Cyborg, Flash, or the actors involved. Either way, I'm just glad that we could see Cyborg's backstory, because he plays one of the 3 major roles in the story. I think it's him, Flash, and then I'll say Batman. Batman and Super. Okay, 4 major, because Batman puts together a team, or tries to, even before he knows what is happening. And Superman, he's Superman. His strength is needed in the final battle, so it is important. Aquaman is really the one character I'm like, yeah, he did some things to help out, but maybe they would have won without Aquaman. So I would have wanted him to have a more prominent role, like something that he did that was actually pivotal to their victory. And then Wonder Woman, of course, everything she does, like fighting the bad guys, she's really powerful. If she wasn't there, they would be losing so much because of the power and the strength and her abilities. And yeah, this part also has we meet Flash, so we have that Flash and Iris West scene that was in the trailer for Justice League, the other one, the 2017 version, but not in the movie at all. And I don't know why, because in the scene we actually see who Barry Allen is, like his weirdness, his quirkiness, and it is funny, but it's not silly funny like we saw in the theatrical version. It's more Barry Allen funny, and I think Ezra Miller does a great job at that. I think one of the worst bits about from 2017 version is Flash is just misused. Honestly, it's an insult to the character and to what Zack Snyder wanted him to be. And yeah, that's basically it. Part 3 is basically just Cyborg and Flash, and I'm really okay with that because we can see what is happening in their lives. So Flash is trying to get one more job, one more like part-time job to get enough money to become a criminal investigator, or like CSI, so he can help his dad, who is in prison because of the murder of his wife, which he didn't commit. So it has a more emotional punch to see how they progress in the story, what happens at the end with the resolution. It's just better to watch. And yeah, I don't know why it isn't in the theatrical version. What a mistake. Like Warner Brothers, what the hell? What the hell were they thinking? Anyway, then part 4, it's called Change Machine, and we have that scene with the first team up. So Cyborg, Flash, Batman, Wonder Woman, then Aquaman comes in, finally joins the four of them, and they save the hostages that were being kept from Steppenwolf, that were being kept by Steppenwolf and the parademons. We have that fight. It's kind of the same as it is in the theatrical version. There's just no stupid stuff regarding the Flash, no stupid jokes about bugs and falling on top of Wonder Woman. And there's a really cool scene that he does where he's saving some hostages and he just uses his super speed in just a really visually appealing way, let me say that. And oh yeah, and the thing that also, when I was watching this, that made me realize how illogical the theatrical version is the fact that Steppenwolf just knew how to find the mother boxes. He just knew where they were. He would just show up at the locations, and that was it. But what Zack Snyder wrote, what he created, was an actual reason for Steppenwolf finding in due time each mother box. The first one, I think, the first one had a crack on it, so it functioned like a beacon. So Steppenwolf just went to that beacon using like a teleportation machine, or the ship. That is a bit unclear still, but I don't mind. But then he used the parademons okay, this is the given circumstances. The boxes, they just released the scent, and people that were close to the boxes, like working on them or just close in location, they give off that scent, and the parademons find these people, and then they bring them to Steppenwolf. Okay, this is a minor spoiler again, and Steppenwolf uses this alien tech spider that he has on his armor or something, and it goes onto each of their heads, and it kind of projects their memory of the mother box. So that's how he finds the Atlantean box, which he finds in, I think it's in this part actually. I'm a bit No, yeah, it is. Yeah, it should be at the beginning of this part or at the end of part 3. Now I'm a bit confused. Sorry. It's all a big movie, um, so that makes sense, and it also, again, it made sense why Aquaman was came to the rescue of his fellow Atlanteans who were protecting their mother box, because before we had two scenes. Okay, one scene, one important scene with Vulko, played by Willem Dafoe, which we met first in Aquaman in 2018, and he filmed some scenes for Justice League, but he didn't make it into the theatrical cut for some reason. Again, I don't know. And Vulko says to Aquaman that guards have been missing, like taken from creatures above. So that's why he was like you should help out, like we need you, you're the rightful king, all that stuff. So that's why Aquaman travels to the stronghold where they are guarding them, the safekeeping the mother box. Like that makes sense. It's not just like, oh, he was swimming nearby and he heard something happening over there and he went to save the day or try to. Like, no, there is a reason to it, and it was just so easy. It was like a 1 minute, 2 minute scene with Vulko, 2-3 minute scene. It set up his own movie in 2018, which we have already watched, and it set up his involvement in the Justice League movie. It was a simple scene. I don't know why it was taken out. And yeah, so Aquaman comes, they save the hostages, Steppenwolf flees again, and then the team, the 5 of them, formulate a plan. That plan is bringing back Superman. But why? In the theatrical version, we didn't know. We just thought, oh, they need Superman because he was strong, and we want him back, and blah blah. And yeah, he's strong, and they want him back. But in this movie, because of that prologue, because we know that it was his death that made all of this happen, that made it safe for Steppenwolf to come to Earth and find the mother boxes, we know that the mother boxes themselves, because they're like entities, like machines, blah blah, with some thought process or some knowledge inside themselves, they were afraid of Superman, which is pretty interesting. Like a pretty interesting concept. These machines were afraid of Superman, so when he was gone, they started sending the beacon. And that in this way, with this logic, it just like it is a nice sensical progression to, we need to bring him back because he's the only one strong enough to stop this. He's really, because, oh yeah, I forgot, but I think I was gonna mention it either way, but the CGI on Steppenwolf is much better. His armor feels much more menacing. He feels more powerful when he's fighting off the Amazons and the Atlanteans and such, much more visceral and brutal. So when Wonder Woman says, I haven't seen anyone as strong as Steppenwolf, well, maybe one, Superman, it just makes sense. Like, we need someone stronger than Steppenwolf. Even us united as 5, we're not really that strong still. So all of it makes sense to bring back Superman. There is a moral conversation between Bruce and Alfred, who is an actual butler in one scene, which is really funny in this movie, finally. But apart from that, there's really like a consensual idea of, yeah, we need him back because the stakes are too high. And they are too high because we've been knowing about Darkseid, and the plan is to destroy this world so that Darkseid can rule over it, like he did with hundreds and thousands of more planets. So So yeah, it makes sense to bring back Superman. It's not something like, no, he's dead, like it's wrong. Yeah, maybe it's a bit wrong, but they really do need it because the world is at stake. The universe is at stake. Because okay, this is a major spoiler. On Earth, it exists the anti-life equation, like engraved on the ground of Earth. I don't know a lot about that from the comics, but when I heard it in the movie, I was like, oh my god, really? Fun because what would happen next in Justice League 2 or something like that, with Darkseid as the main villain, not just like an entity in the background that we actually see in this version, but still, like really interesting stuff being set up. So that's why it is so important that Steppenwolf wins, so that Darkseid can come and find the anti-life equation, which basically just lets him rule overall life around the multiverse, something like that. Something really big and interesting. Of course, the planet being Earth is about like, really? Our planet? Really? Okay, fine. I'm not gonna even mention it again. And yeah, so that was a really important aspect of the film that would just set up what's to come in the second Justice League movie or other future projects. And the other scene we have, and this is another major spoiler, so just skip ahead like 1 minute, or to the other chapter, because I might divide this video into chapters, is that we have a scene with Lois Lane, who has been mourning and grieving over the loss of Clark. She goes to the location where his statue is destroyed. Martha Kent, Clark's mother, just goes over to her place. They have a chat about moving on, blah blah. So then Martha leaves, and it's revealed it wasn't Martha, it was John Jones, aka Martian Manhunter. And wow, I screamed. I wasn't expecting that at all. And the character that John Jones, Martian Manhunter, the person that he plays, is that Sergeant Major. I forgot the name. That we meet in Man of Steel, and then again in 2016's Batman vs Superman. The actor who plays him, Jesus, the name is in the top of my tongue, the tip of my tongue. But yeah, I just know him very well from The Blacklist, the TV show with James Spader. Like I watched that with my mom, so I cannot remember his name. But yeah, and it was just great to see that. I wasn't expecting that, and it's just like a little cameo, nothing like huge that's gonna influence the rest of the film, but it's still really cool. Okay, so part 5 is called All the King's Horses, and it's basically the part where Superman is brought back. They have that little fight with him. It's mostly the same compared to the theatrical version. There's just no again, there's no corny lines. There's no, do you bleed? I think you bleed, yo. There's no like lines like that. We have these little moments of developing the relationships, both between the team members, the new team members, the Justice League, and like Clark and Lois. They not now, actually, that's in the beginning of part 6, but yeah, we see these moments of Clark getting back to reality, like coming back to his senses, basically. And again, this part is basically bringing back Superman. But the thing that it really stood out for me, that was completely left out of the theatrical version, was they infiltrated the Justice League infiltrates Star Labs so they can go to Superman's ship and all the wreckage and do the thing that they do in the theatrical version. But we are shown the infiltration, and we have this moment between Victor and his dad Silas, where it's just like a little payoff to their relationship. Like, Silas doesn't need to know what's going on to know that his son is doing something good, so he clears out the space so that Justice League could bring Superman back. And in the theatrical version, you're just like, huh? They just now they're in the Kryptonian wreckage, the Kryptonian ship. Okay, out of nowhere, and we knew even in 2017 that was inside Star Labs, but they just went in like that, just like that. But here, thankfully, we have an explanation. They have a little infiltration. We see them chat. Like Aquaman has a nice moment with Diana with Wonder Woman. It's not like a moment of truth with the lasso. It's they're talking about how their people fought for ages, for millennia, and now how they haven't spoken or allied since then. And they just have this little nice moment of they need to the two of them need to unite even if their peoples don't. And we are left to think, like, if these great warriors were united, would they have been able to stop Steppenwolf and the coming invasion without the help of these heroes, the Justice League? It's a nice thought. Like, it's a bit provoking to think Earth has completely gone into social chaos. There's no alliances worth having for when something this huge happens. So yeah, I think that's also one of the reasons why Bruce Wayne and Diana want to have a team of members of unique abilities, super people. And then we go to part 6. It's called Something Darker, and like I said, we have that sequence at the Kent farm with Clark coming back to himself, chatting with Lois, with his mom. But this is the final part, the final bit of the story. So it's Justice League against Steppenwolf and his parademons. The action, the whole sequence is just better filmed, better written. There are no people around because the place where Steppenwolf built his base, his stronghold, was a toxic location, much like Chernobyl, you know. So no people live around that area. So there's no family for Flash to save while just pushing a cart, and Superman to lift a whole building of people, which is just crazy and stupid. No, there's just fighting, and I'm okay with that. It made sense how, like I said, like it being a toxic area, a contaminated area, or what it was, because Steppenwolf uses the radiation to build his stronghold, something like that. I don't know. It doesn't really have a lot of importance to it. But so okay, this is the big spoiler. This kind of is. So to defeat Steppenwolf, the plan is to have Cyborg link with the 3 mother boxes. So in part 5, right after they bring back Superman and they fight him for a bit, Steppenwolf, because the mother box that they use, the Cyborg's mother box, the 3rd one, emits radiation when it's used, and it was used to bring back Superman. It's like a beacon, so Steppenwolf came to the beacon and he grabbed the mother box. But before then, this was a really nice, sad moment. Silas Stone, Cyborg's dad, decided to charge the mother box, superheat the mother box, so that they could follow that signature, the heat signature, and then find out where it was. And so it makes sense, for people to know where to go and where something is. It makes sense. And he died at the end because of that charging up, of heating up. He died. It was evaporated, and it was really sad. So now that the Steppenwolf has the 3 boxes, he unites them, they unify. I think it's called the Unity when they do that. but it needs time to synchronize to fully be the three boxes united and just destroy the planet. And before that happens, Cyborg would link up to them, and then he would need a supercharge, like an electrical charge, to go inside that event, that phenomenon, and tear it apart from the inside. To do that, like I said, he needs an electrical charge, something that only the Flash can do. So he has to like run really quickly around the area to charge up his electrical power, and then he would run towards Cyborg and charge him up so he could go into the Unity and just stop it from happening. What happens is, and this was a bit. So while Flash is running, he obviously gets really tired and he cannot hold it that longer. And Cyborg is fighting off, and Cyborg, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman are fighting off Steppenwolf, trying to lead him away from Cyborg while he's doing his thing. Batman is outside fighting parademons who are trying to hit the Flash, trying to shoot at him. And one parademon, even though the Flash is super quick, okay, I know he's running in circles, so he's passing the same location lots of times, but still, okay. One parademon shoots at one of the. Okay, now it makes sense because he like basically all the time he would be in this location, thousands of locations. Okay then. I just counter-argumented with myself. That's fine. So yeah, he shoots the Flash. The Flash stops running, stops charging up, and we're like, oh my god, oh no. And even though Superman comes to the rescue and fights Steppenwolf, like he prevents Steppenwolf from stopping Cyborg from doing what he was doing. Even though that happens, and it's so cool, so badass. Like Superman just destroying, like beating up Steppenwolf. Oh, and by the way, Superman is in his black suit, which is really cool to see. So the Flash just lost his speed. He lost his charge. He's wounded, and then the boxes unite, and they become like this really white, bright box, and it explodes. And as it explodes, like that was going to be the destruction of the whole planet. The Flash realizes what's happening, and so he stops. He starts running at the light of the speed of light, something like that, and he runs back in time, like just seconds before then. And we have this cool sequence of him like literally as he gives one more step, the pavement that was below reforms, so each step is another form, like little pavement area. So he runs back in time to charge Cyborg. Cyborg is able to take out the boxes. They have this little like internal conflict, like emotional stake with him, with the boxes, with the mother boxes telling him, oh, you could have your parents again, your family, blah, 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 your life back. And he's like, I'm not broken, and I'm not alone. So that's really like, that's the thing that I was missing in the theatrical version. Like, there was no emotional payoff to the characters. You could not feel a connection to them. And in this, you could. Like, Victor is dealing with being a cyborg and with having lost his mother, having lost himself, his whole life, his whole future, and now he's like this kind of monster in his mind. So when he says that, it's really powerful, it's really beautiful, and that's how you do a character arc. That's how you do it. It's not by undermining other people. So yeah, that was really cool. And he, with the help of Superman, he just removed the boxes, and then they, in R-rated fashion, they kill Steppenwolf. Diana cuts his head off. It goes flying through the portal where you could see Darkseid and Desaad, which is this like type of counselor to Darkseid. I don't know a lot about that from the comics, to be honest. And Darkseid just watching and Steppenwolf and his head just go through the portal, and Darkseid just crushes Steppenwolf's head. So badass. And oh, sorry about the light. I don't have a lot of. It's not a good YouTube setup. This is literally just low profile video, guys. I think you know that by now. And yeah, that was it. That's the end. The part 6 ends with their victory, and then we have the epilogue. And the epilogue shows some resolution with Cyborg, Flash, Batman, and Superman. It's hinted that Lois is pregnant. It's not really clear, but it's hinted that that is happening because Bruce says congratulations to Superman. And I just realized how how do you say, like how quickly, no, how short of a time jump there is from Batman v Superman to Justice League. Like I didn't really see that in 2017. I didn't know how long it had passed. Maybe it was mentioned, but I just completely forgot about that. And it's really nice, like, oh, yeah, what, that was like weeks ago. Was it? Like weeks? A month? I don't know. So, yeah, it's not a long time. And then we have basically 3 different moments of an epilogue. 4. So we see Lex Luthor escape from Arkham. Like there's another person in his cell. So then we see Lex Luthor on a boat and he meets Deathstroke. That was a post-credit scene in the Justice League movie, but they played it really corny, cringy. They were like, oh, they have a league of their own. We should have one as well. Here it's just like, you want Batman? Well, you should know his name is Bruce Wayne. And Deathstroke's like, ooh, really? Cool. I think that would have been a setup for the Batman movie, because Deathstroke was supposedly going to be the villain of that, the main villain or one of the villains of that one, with Ben Affleck, not with the Robert Pattinson one coming next year. So that was fine. And then we have the apocalyptic future reality where we have Batman, Mira. Not Aquaman, Mira, because Aquaman is dead or has died or something like that. Cyborg, future Flash, like really future Flash, the one that we see in the flashback, in the like dreamlike sequence in Batman v Superman. That's like a payoff to this. This is a payoff to that. Deathstroke with a mohawk, and Joker. Jared Leto's Joker. We saw him in the trailer. There's no society, blah, blah, blah. There's no line like that, like, we live in a society. There's no line like that. Maybe Snyder realized, yeah, that was a bit too much. I'm just going to put it in the trailer just to set up. Because every line, every little dialogue between Joker and Batman in this movie, this epilogue bit, there's something to it. There's some details to it. They mention, okay, this is total spoilers, guys, so just skip to the next chapter if you want. He mentions Jason Todd, Boy Wonder dying, supposedly, because of Batman sending a Robin to do a man's job, to do what he was supposed to do. Okay, I'm going to get back to that. So we have this little back and forth between Batman and Joker, like Joker just pushing Batman and Batman being like, you don't want to do that, I will kill you one day. That was really like, whoa, damn, that was cool. And there's this, and the Joker lines are, it's still kind of not really badly written or badly acted. I don't know. I think Jared Leto's Joker was really a wasted opportunity. It's kind of, I think it's kind of tainted his image, the image of the Joker, and then we have Joaquin Phoenix's Joker with his own thing, and it's just so much better. I mean, wow. So maybe we have that comparison to make. So Jared Leto's Joker is really bad. But I don't know, the dialogue itself the dialogue, like the premise of the dialogue, was really interesting. With Batman doesn't have anything to love. Well, he did once. The Joker says, but he lost them. But some lines are just like, whoa, it's just that's just really lazy writing, as Deadpool says. And then some laughs are just like, the laugh is still a bit like, too much, maybe a bit too much. And so, what happens is that what I wanted to get at it was that Joker says, "Why did you send a boy wonder?" And then he changes his voice and says, "To do a man's job." And I'm like, is this Joker Jason Todd? And does Batman know that? Because why would he change his voice? Honestly, it was something. I think that was a theory around the internet, that maybe this Joker was Jason Todd. He was really young, really different. He had the J. And like, why would Joker put a J on himself? And that J kind of looked like the J from Joker on Jason Todd. And I was started wondering, what if there was a Joker before this one? Maybe it was Joaquin Phoenix, and maybe it was another Joker. I don't know. That doesn't really matter. But Jason Todd was so inflicted, was so like destroyed by this event, this interaction with the previous Joker, that he himself became the Joker. Another one. I don't know, that line, like, he literally changed his voice. I don't think I'm imagining things, but he was like, "Why did you send a boy wonder to do a man's job?" I think, my God, it's really annoying because supposedly the Snyder Cut is not canon. The 2017 version is. It just really annoys me. Please start the hashtag canonize the Snyder Cut. Make it a thing. Make it happen. Even if it takes another 3.5 years, just make it happen. And yeah, then that scene, like Superman appears in that future imperfect, something like that, reality, and he is pissed off because what is hinted at is that Lois Lane died, and my theory would be she would have died, I don't know by who, and she would have been pregnant still. So that's why Superman is so out of himself, why he is fighting Batman and the heroes. And then Bruce Wayne wakes up. That was kind of a dream. I don't think it was a dream. Some people are saying it's just a dream or some like a nightmare, really. I think that was just. I think when the Flash came back, in that again dreamlike sequence in Batman vs Superman, that the way that it works with the coming back, going back in time, the electrical, the speed force, blah blah, it kind of messed with Bruce Wayne's mind. So he is actually seeing he has this premonitions of the future, this vision of the future, and that's going to happen. Maybe that would be the plot line of Justice League 2, the second movie, the sequel. I think so. I'm not sure. I don't know if we'll ever see that. Unfortunately, with Zack Snyder just wanting to move on, let's see if that's still it. But yeah, Bruce Wayne wakes up, gets out of bed, and then a caped person comes by, and it's Martian Manhunter again. I don't even remember what he said, because it wasn't really something that important. It was something like, "Oh, I've been in anonymous, like doing nothing, just watching for a long time, but I think I need to step up." And Bruce was like, "Okay, I don't know who you are, but cool." It'd be like, "Oh, some people call me Martian Manhunter." Okay, my name is John Jones, but some people call me Martian Manhunter. Okay, that's fine. We already knew that. We already saw you before. It would have been either more interesting if we just saw the scene with him, or just the other scene where he impersonates Martha Kent. Both scenes, I'm like, okay, that doesn't really set up any project, really. We had setups for Justice League 2, the Batman movie, that Batfleck Batman movie, Aquaman, which we already had, and Flash, because there's this, when he's going back in time to prevent the unity, he says, make your own future, and then he says, make your own past, which could be a setup for what he's about to do, or the way that he says it, it makes me wonder if we would have the live action movie version of him going back in time to save his mom, thus getting a fight with Reverse Flash, blah blah blah, to do the Flashpoint storyline for the movie, like we see in the TV series, in the CW TV series. So I was thinking maybe that was the initial moment where he was like, what if I do go back in time to save my mom? I believe, I don't know. Because again, it's interesting, how did he know that sometimes he could go back in time? Maybe that already happened. I don't know. It was really interesting though. And yeah, that was an epilogue basically just setting up multiple future projects that may or may not happen now. And yeah, that was it. That's the whole movie. And now for some just general again thoughts, comparing it again to Joss Whedon. I'm just gonna go through my list. I just made a list. So basically, in this movie, we have cause and effect. Like I said, we have something happens for a reason because something else happened before. In the theatrical version, there's just this unnatural motion of events. Out of nowhere, Batman fights a parademon. Out of nowhere, Steppenwolf reaches this place. Aquaman reaches that place. It just happens. Doesn't make any sense. And logic, for me, logic is a big deal in movies. If I sense a big lack of logic in any movie, I'm like, damn, this could be good, but you've just ruined it. And it happened a bit in Wonder Woman 1984. If you haven't seen that, if you haven't heard that review that I did, it's on the channel, it's on my podcast as well. So yeah, the other thing is, in this movie, everyone is heroic, while in the theatrical version, like I said, the Flash specifically is really undermined. He's played for jokes. I don't know why he did that. Why Sweden did that. It's really insulting to the Flash, to the character and the fans. The other thing that the Whedon cut did was just, it was a cliche. The movie was a cliche blockbuster. There was no real sense of this is a great story, this is a great vision. But the Snyder Cut, it just has this epic scope. The flashback sequence to the Darkseid invasion. My God, it felt like Lord of the Rings, like one of those types of battles. And yeah, in the Whedon, it just felt like a superhero movie, like a normal one, not even a decent one. It was just really just bad, in my opinion, in most people's opinions. And yeah, and the thing, the big difference for me at least is that in this movie we have character arcs for most of our characters, and in the Whedon movie, it's just goofy joke after goofy joke. It doesn't put a smile on my face, and it's really cringy. Oh my God, to hear these jokes about do you bleed, or the thing with Aquaman and the lasso of truth and Flash, and oh my God, it's just unbearable to watch. I'm not ever gonna watch that again. And yeah, with this movie, there's a lot of backstory, specifically for Cyborg, and even Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf is not a great villain, but in the Snyder Cut, he does have more of a backstory, of a motivation, like what happened with him and Darkseid. There's more to it, while everything related to Cyborg and Steppenwolf was trimmed for the theatrical version, and that's really bad. It's really stupid. Yeah, again, another comparison that it's easy to make. There is tonal consistency in the Snyder Cut, And in the 2017 version, everything is just loud and bright and too colorful, too red. The final battle, the skies are red. Doesn't make sense even. And in the Snyder Cut, the skies are like bluish, dark, like normal stuff. Another thing is we have high stakes in this one, and in the theatrical version is just usual bad guy final plan. Yes, he has still the mother bosses. Yes, he wants to build the unity, but I didn't really understand why or what was gonna happen after that. It was just usual stuff. The other thing is, oh my god, the other thing is, there was an effective style of storytelling in this, in a sense that, like, it's again tapping into the cause and effect. Like, we are shown one scene because it will have an impact on another scene, or it just develops the character interactions, the character arcs, what they do, what they are, what they believe in, what they will do in the movie to earn that victory. While in the Joss Whedon movie, there's just this generic editing that just trimmed and cut and removed and added things for laughs, for action's sake, and the action wasn't really that good. The CGI is also really not really bad, especially for Steppenwolf, and yeah, even though I wouldn't call the Snyder Cut a perfect execution of a superhero film, it's near perfect. Like, you could see his vision for this. He had a clear vision, and I'm really glad they finally got to make it. And I'm really sad that he wasn't able to make it back in 2017, because that movie is corporate trash. I'm sorry, it's corporate trash with a blurry mustache. A little rhyme for you, okay? That's what it is. That's what it was, and I'm trying to forget it now. I'm trying to forget everything about it, because it doesn't really make me... I can't even finish the thought. Just thinking about it hurts my brain. It hurts my brain. And yeah, that's, I think, just to finish this comparison that I started again in the beginning of the video. This was a movie. And the theatrical version was a product to make money for Warner Brothers, and that deeply, deeply upset fans. So, thank God for everyone that typed in #release the Snyder Cut. All the fans, all the actors, Snyder himself, that fought for this to happen, because it's really good. It's a really good movie. I think mostly because of the comparison that I just that everyone is making, but still, it's decent. It's a decent, good movie with a vision and a clear epic scope, and there's logic to it. There was not one moment where I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. There were some bits that were like, that detail doesn't really, like Diana falling to a ground where she's exploring this cave, and she has like stilettos or something, and they don't break when she falls. Like, you just showed me, you're gonna show me a scene where when the Flash is running and he has his sneakers on, they get totally destroyed because of his super speed. But when Diana falls, like, I don't know how many feet, she doesn't break her stilettos. Okay, that's just like nitpicking the thing. Everything that was added to the Snyder Cut, and I'm using quotes because it was already there. They just these additions were removals for the 2017 Justice League, and it just boggles my mind. Like the fact that we have Darkseid as a prominent background character, awesome. The fact that we see Cyborg's story, we understand his role, which is pivotal, awesome. The Flash is not written as a joke, awesome. Steppenwolf is CGI is much better, and his goal is much clearer. The death of Superman actually means something, and his rebirth brings no corny lines with it. There's no rebirth of the corny lines, thank God. The future Flash cameo in Batman vs Superman is paid off. It would be a setup for something that happened. Oh, again, I didn't mention this, but Jared Leto's Joker also is upgraded in this movie. He doesn't have all the tattoos, blah blah blah, and the jewelry. He has the normal long green hair and a white face, and his lipstick or like his smile. Not really a red bright. I think it was even kind of like dark red. I don't know, but it was better to see like visually more appealing than what we saw in Suicide Squad. We also got, I forgot to mention this, we also got Ryan Choi, who many casual fans won't know who he is, but through the comic people, they will know he is, or he's going to be, the Atom, which is basically kind of like the Ant-Man of the the DC. There is a character who is also the Atom, played by who is Ray Palmer in the Arrowverse. I think in the comics he's also the Atom. So there's more than one person that is the Atom. It's like Captain America, you know. It was also cool to mention the anti-life equation, even if it wasn't like a prominent thing. It would be in the sequel if there ever is one, if there ever was one. It's nice that we have time to explore each plot line, each character, each bit of lore that Snyder wanted to put in there because he loves DC, he loves this franchise, he loves these characters and stories that they have already written out in almost a century of comics. And yeah, you just feel more connected to each character, specifically more connected with Victor and Barry than you were in the 2017 version, because yeah, those characters were just like kind of tertiary characters in that movie, and they play massive roles at the end game of this film. It's just crazy. And yeah, I think even setting up the movies that we already watched, like Aquaman, in the theatrical version, you just saw Aquaman for the first time, and we're like, okay, now we're gonna watch a movie with him. Of course, it's already been said, and he was already in this movie, so we're gonna have a movie with him. And of course, yeah, that happened. But in the Snyder Cut, it's explained that he has this rivalry with the Atlanteans because of his mother, who left him. So it actually sets up the story for the Aquaman movie. And it sets up a lot of other future movies that you just probably not gonna see, because of how things are in DC, and they're like redoing it with the Pattinson movie. I think we'll have to wait and see what they do. I'm really excited now to know more about the DCEU, more news, more stuff, more projects than I was before watching this movie. So that's really like a great thing that happened, at least personally to me, regarding this franchise. And yeah, that's basically it. That's the whole thing I gotta say. Maybe I have some closing thoughts. Like I said, this is a completely different movie, completely new vibe. This is Zack Snyder's baby, and the action is much better. The screenplay, the script is much better. It's truly epic in scope and in developing the DC extended universe. The stakes are high as they're really high. They're huge, and everything is just fleshed out and not rushed like it was in the original one. And there's even a line that the Flash says, and it seems kind of be making a joke about the 2017 version. He says, "We actually finally have a plan," which feels like, yeah, you do. 4 years ago, you didn't. There was nothing. There was really nothing. If I had to say some minor like nitpicking that I already mentioned, again, there were too many slow motion scenes. The first 30 minutes, you have like 4 lines. There's not a lot of dialogue to move the story forward. Like when you get to part 3, 4, when there's more action or more dialogue scenes between character development, it gets more exciting. The first 2 parts are really kind of slowish, but I get it. It's kind of the first act of a movie. It sets up what's gonna come, but still, because it is a 4-hour long movie, and that's like another like thing that I have to mention. It's just too long. If they made some of the slow motion bits non-slow motion, I think the movie would go to like 3 hours and a half. That's not really long. It could have been released in theaters if the world wasn't like it is right now. And again, I'm nitpicking. I think I mentioned this, but there was a singing moment that was just a bit too long. Kind of weird. It was like an homage or like to Aquaman, kind of meaning that he is a god to them. He is a savior to those people, but still, like, I think we got that from the dialogue scene from the first bit, when Bruce Wayne goes into the bar to chat with Arthur. So we don't need 1 minute of someone singing to the leaving Aquaman. Anyway, that is basically it, guys. I really enjoyed this movie. If I had to rate it, I would give it 7.5 out of 10. It's a solid movie. I think it is better to have in consideration. It becomes better when you have in consideration all the stuff, all the baggage that it has, with the not only the fact that the studio interfered in the first one, not only the fact that Joss Whedon interfered in the first one, but all this, like all the time that we spent wanting this movie, wanting his vision, like Zack Snyder's vision, and himself, the way that he wanted it to finally be out there. I think it just makes it a little bit better. And for all the reasons that I said, like all the compliments that I gave the movie, I'm not trying to lick the movie's bottom, licking. Yeah, I'm not trying to do that. It's really a nice movie. I think that it's made better when you know the history of it. And yeah, if there is an alternate universe where we never got Whedon's version and we got this one, my God, we probably would have had twice as many DC movies since then, because we had like 1 per year, kind of 1.5 per year. And that is it. That is it, guys. We have reached the end of the episode of this video, if you're watching on YouTube. And I'm really sorry for the time, for the time duration of this episode. I'm trying something different, not going off a script, just chatting, putting it all out there, making it up as I go. And English is not my first language, so it's kind of hard to like keep up with the translating inside of my brain. And this movie, like, it is 4 hours long, so I needed to talk about it at least for 1 hour, and I ended up talking almost 1 hour and a half. So I'm really sorry for that. But if you enjoyed, I'm really glad. And yeah, just leave a comment on YouTube or just send me a message on social media talking about the movie, giving me some feedback. I would really appreciate that. And with that said, this has been Just One More Opinion. I have been Charlie, and you have been awesome. Take care and goodbye.